Ghost may no longer be in the Thunderbolts. Spider-Man 4 is in the works. We got a bunch of stuff involving Kang the Conqueror, and a recent set photo seems to confirm a title change for Agatha Coven of Chaos. Let's talk about it. This is an MCU news roundup. Basically, it's where I take all the MCU news we got from the week and I compile it into one video where I recap it and talk about it and go in depth on it. I used to do some of these and I stopped, and I tried again and I stopped. I did like one more and I stopped, but I figured that since I'm switching my main news videos to shorts because it's just so much easier to do it that way instead of taking like 30-40 minutes to make a 2-minute video, that since I'm switching those to short form content, if I make a long video at the end of the week recapping it all, I get to go more in depth than I would be able to in a few second long short video. So that's why I figured I would bring this back. Just gives me the opportunity to talk more about it than I could in those videos, and it's also a good way for you guys to watch it if you missed those shorts. So let's dive into this. We have a lot of stuff to go over. First up, we've got a little film called The Thunderbolts here that is set to release in theaters next summer and wrap up Phase 5. They're going into production this year. They're going to be getting started on that soon. But a recent listing showed that Hannah John Kamen's Ghost might not actually be in this movie, despite the fact that she was previously confirmed to be. If we look at this roster that we got from D23, she is on the team alongside the other Thunderbolts. But now she supposedly isn't. What's up with that? So I actually do think she's in the movie. I just don't think she was on this particular listing. She could have a smaller role or whatever, but I don't think that she's not going to be in this movie, especially because the entire Thunderbolts team, if we take her out of it, consists of Julia Louis-Dreyfus and a bunch of super soldiers. If we look at the picture I got pulled up here, it's Red Guardian, Yelena, Bucky, John Walker, and Taskmaster. Everyone except Yelena's a super soldier, but even she is basically trained to the level of a super soldier. She could take on any of these actual super soldiers. Ghost is the only person who has a full-on power set. So to not have her on the team would be weird, especially if the rumors are true they're going to be facing someone like Sentry. They're going to want someone who actually has superpowers. I'm sorry to the rest of these Captain Americas, but they aren't defeating Sentry. Honestly, Ghost wouldn't be able to either. Also, I don't think we've seen all of the characters in this movie. I think we've just seen the main ones, and maybe they're not considering Ghost one of the main lineup. I think we're going to see Abomination in this movie. I think we're going to see Zemo in this movie. I just think it would be weird to announce the Thunderbolts team and then later be like, okay, may not be entirely accurate, we're going to take Ghost off. Unless it's because they had not yet written out what the sort of basic idea of that movie would be when they announced it, and they realized Ghost just doesn't work for this story. I'm not sure. But I think a lot of people are taking this as more than it should be. I think Ghost is coming back in this movie. I hope Ghost is coming back in this movie. She's the one that breaks the mold from it being entirely super soldiers. Even if you put in someone like Abomination, Abomination was created because of Banner's stuff, which was designed to recreate the super soldier serum. So it's all super soldiers. They need people with powers. I guarantee Ghost is on the team. If she's not, then I guess I misled all of you. Alright, enough with Thunderbolts, let's talk about Spider-Man. There's not a lot to talk about with Spider-Man, except that reportedly Sony Pictures is trying to fast-track Spider-Man 4 so they can get it out in 2025. They're saying they want to get started on that movie this year, so they can either be filming end of this year or sometime early next year for a release in 2025. If we follow the other Spider-Man MCU films, Homecoming and Far From Home both released early July. No Way Home was supposed to release in July, but because of the pandemic, it got pushed back to Christmas. I think Sony's going to want to try to restore that summer of 2025 date. But the only reason I could see them keeping it as a Christmas release instead of a summer release is because of how packed Phase 6 is already, with a Fantastic Four movie, 2 Avengers movies, all of this supposed to be releasing in just a few years. I could totally see them not being able to get that summer spot from Marvel and having to put Spider-Man in the winter. And hey, it worked out really well last time because Spider-Man was the first movie since the pandemic started that made $1 billion, and we don't know if they are actually trying to fast-track this to release in 2025, but it's Sony. I think they are. The other thing that is actually sort of confusing is the contract, because for a while we have all been led to believe that the contract says they have to put out a Spider-Man movie every 2 years. That was the contract with Marvel, otherwise the rights can revert back to Marvel, which is why, despite all of the production issues because of the pandemic, they had to force No Way Home out in 2021. That's why when every movie was getting delayed out of 2021 or much later, Spider-Man had seen small delays. It saw summer to fall to December, and they refused to push it where everything else was being pushed because they knew they had to get it out in 2021. So to now have a 4-year gap and not have to make one until 2025 tells me there's either some loophole in the contract, or they renegotiate a new contract, or the contract was supposed to end after the trilogy, and so now they kind of get to change up how they do things. I don't know. Also, it's unclear if this film is part of the MCU. I guarantee you it is. A lot of people have said maybe it's not. Trust me, it is. These movies would not be making as much money if they were not connected to Marvel. I mean, think about how much money Sony has made purely off having Spidey in the MCU. Because Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, Far From Home, and No Way Home, 5 of the 6 movies Spider-Man's in have grossed over $1 billion, several of which have gone well over $1 billion. The MCU is Sony's Spider-Man cash cow. There's no way that his deal with the MCU is done. He's coming back. Now with that, we can actually move into stuff that is happening this year. So first off, let's talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, because there's not much to talk about here, but it is this picture that was released of Adam Warlock in the movie. People have thoughts, of course. Now, we know Adam Warlock's being played by Will Poulter. It's unclear how large his role is going to be in this, but I think it's safe to assume that by the end of it, he'll still be alive and well, and he'll go on to be in, maybe not Kang Dynasty, but definitely Secret Wars, and who knows if he'll help form a new Guardians team or what he's going to do, but he's like the one character who's for sure going to make it out of this movie. And I think he looks amazing. A lot of people say his suit is over-designed, and I can understand your reasoning for that, but the one reason it doesn't feel that way for me is because this is, one, it's in space, and I'm aware you can have simplistic and in space, like Thor's earlier costumes, basically everything except his Love and Thunder suit. Those were simple, but the reason it doesn't bother me that Adam Warlock's suit is kind of complicated is because look at the people who made him. The Sovereign are all about being fancy and about class and being like intricate. They literally are all gold, and they live in a golden temple, and their batteries are gold. These people are all about looking cool as hell, so I can see how they'd be like, that's what Adam Warlock needs. Also, I saw a thing saying that if you told an AI to draw superhero, it would spit out Adam Warlock, which is perfect considering Adam Warlock was designed to be the perfect specimen. He should be the picture-perfect version of what you think when you think superhero. And the last thing I like about him is the bolt in his head. In the comics, at some point he has the Soul Stone in his head. They're clearly not doing that here because, one, the Soul Stone's destroyed, and two, they're obviously not doing that here. He has something in his head. It's just a silver something. I don't know if it serves a function or if it's just a bolt of some kind. We're going to find out in the movie if it serves a function, but I just think it's a cool little detail that they put that in. The one other thing I wish he had is long hair. But he doesn't. He has Will Poulter's hair, and he looks dope. I just really hope he does not kill any of the Guardians. Please don't let him kill any of the Guardians. I love them too much. Told you, not much for Guardians 3. And there's not much for the next thing we're going to talk about. I'm saving the two big things for last here, but let's talk very briefly about Loki Season 2, which, in case you didn't realize, is coming out this summer. So not a lot is known about Season 2 of this. We've seen a few shots. We've seen a couple behind the scenes photos of like Sylvie at a McDonald's, but we don't know what exactly is happening here. There was a rumor going around that it would touch more on what the initial pitch of the show was, which was Loki kind of jumping through time, doing all sorts of shenanigans, but then they had to change it because of the pandemic to something that could be more contained, enter the TVA. And Season 2 may actually go back to what that original pitch was of Loki going through time and doing all sorts of crazy stuff through time and trying to contain or figure out whatever happened at the end of Season 1. And if that's even the story of Season 2, we have no clue. That's how in the dark everyone is about Loki Season 2. No one knows what's happening there besides the people who read the script. But one rumor that hit the internet the other day is something that really intrigues me, and that's that we may see multiple Kang variants in Loki Season 2, which means Jonathan Majors is going to be getting a lot of Marvel paychecks. And it raised the question of what impact is this going to have on the MCU, because Season 1 obviously set up the whole multiverse saga and it set up Kang, and I wonder if Season 2 is going to almost directly set up the Kang dynasty of a bunch of Kangs, maybe the Council of Kangs. The Council of Kangs would be awesome, but it's too early to tell what exact function this season serves and why there may be multiple Kang variants, if Loki's going to come in contact with any of them. And I think it'd be cool to see some crazy Kang variants. We've obviously gotten He Who Remains. We're getting Warrior Kang. I'd like to see some crazy Kangs. Like, in an infinite multiverse, give all of that to me. And I totally think with this rumor, this could be what sets up Kang Dynasty. It could be what sets up the Council of Kangs, which I feel like we have to get, right? You can't have Kang and not give us a Council of Kangs. Although Council of Kang might be an Ant-Man. We're going to find out. Speaking of Ant-Man, let's move on to Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. All right, this is coming out the soonest. This movie comes out in less than a month. It comes out February 17th, although I guess advance tickets, you can get them February 16th, which is when I'm going to see the movie, so I can have my review up on the 17th. One of the things that comes from the movie being less than a month away is that it means we're starting to get close to the press tour. The review embargo for this movie lifts on the 14th, just 2 days before the movie. I'm assuming they did this so they can best contain spoilers, because last time they had a premiere super early, it was spoiled that Harry Styles is in Eternals. So I can see that why they wouldn't want to do that again. Also, screw that guy who tweeted that. I like to mention him as often as I can. So that premiere and the review embargo, that's all going to be up like way closer to the movie. But some things that are going to start soon, and there's actually already been some, is the press junket, the press tour of the movie, the cast interviews, the crew interviews, any press conferences they do, yada yada. We'll be seeing that pretty soon. So if you're someone who likes to do deep dives in the interviews and try to pick up any little nuggets of info about the movie that you can, just know that those will be dropping soon. There was one that came out the other day where Catherine Newton may have talked a little too much about what's going on in this movie. So if you want to watch that, do it. I'm not going to say anything in here in case you would consider it spoilers. But it's, yeah, she talks a bit, and Paul Rudd's caught off guard. So go have fun with that. But that's not all we got for Ant-Man. We have a picture that came out a few days ago of William Jackson Harper's character. We knew he was going to be in this movie. We had no what capacity. A lot of people thought he was going to be Reed Richards. But he is playing a character called Quaze. And I don't like to jump to conclusions because all my theories are always wrong, but don't name someone that similar to Quasar if he's not going to be Quasar. But he is in the quantum realm, he's playing a telepathic character, and I guess he's part of the freedom fighters in this that are trying to fight back against Kang. What function is this city in the quantum realm doing? What is Janet's connection to all this? There's all sorts of questions we still have. This is one of them. This freedom fighter group, is this against Kang? Is this against something else? Do the Ant crew come in and they say, hey, we need your help to beat him? Are they the savior they're looking for? We don't know, but knowing that there is a group of rebels in the quantum realm is so exciting to me. I cannot wait to see how quantum realm civilizations work. I also really want one of these movies to explain how they can breathe when they're smaller than an atom. There's a big question that's been going around, and I'm kind of late to this because I was going to make a full video on it, but everyone else already has, so there's no point in me doing it. And that is the question of, did the trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania show too much? Because we saw a lot in this. Seeing helmeted MODOK is cool. Seeing MODOK unmasked and knowing it's Corey Stoll when that's supposed to be a moment in the movie that comes as a shock to the characters, does that show too much? Does showing Ant-Man's deal with Kang and that there's a betrayal take away from the tension of Ant-Man making a deal with Kang when we know he's going to do it and we know Kang's gonna betray him? And of course, there's two crazy ones in the trailer for me, which is when we see Ant-Man doing his heist and he's got an anthill of Ant-Mans, an Ant-Man hill, and he starts to fall through it and he starts to get sucked in and you think it's the end, and then they show Wasp fly in and save him, showing the resolution to this heist. Does that tell us too much? And lastly, having Kang break the helmet and saying you thought you could win, a lot of people think was the perfect ending for the trailer, but then the trailer went on to have Ant-Man's line of, I don't have to win, we both just have to lose, and showing what we can assume to be the final fight between Kang and Ant-Man. It raises the question, did they just lay out the entire movie for us? Now, we could be off. This could be a variant Ant-Man that dies in like the first 2 minutes of the movie, and they really didn't show us as much as it seems like they showed us. But if you follow the path of this trailer, it really looks like in chronological order they laid out what the plot of this movie is going to be. And my question is, did they show too much of the movie in this trailer? I'm going to leave that up to you because this is purely opinionated. As hyped as I still am, I can't help but think they showed a bit too much, but it doesn't take away from my excitement or my anticipation for this movie. And then the last thing I've talked about with Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania is the title. This movie has Wasp in the title, and for a title character, she has so far effectively done nothing in the marketing. She has said one line across both trailers and has had mere seconds of screen time in any of the marketing. We have no clue what her storyline is going to be in this movie. We have no clue what her relevance to this is besides her being there. We have no hint of what Wasp's purpose is in a movie with her name in the title, and I feel like that's not good. I feel like it means this is just an Ant-Man movie that they put Wasp in the title of because she was in the title of the last one, when they could have just named it Ant-Man Quantumania and made the Ant-Man in the word Quantumania a different color so it sticks out. But hey, I don't make the rules. I don't write these movies. I would like to, though. Alright, that's out of the way. Let's talk about something that actually just came out today, and that is Agatha Coven of Chaos, a show that's supposed to be coming to Disney Plus at the end of this year. The original slate said late 2023, 2024, although I don't know if they're pushing it because Echo got delayed. I don't know. Oh yeah, Echo got delayed if you didn't know that. But, so Agatha. They actually just started filming. There are some set photos of Catherine Hahn and Joe Locke on set. The series also stars Aubrey Plaza, by the way, so that's cool. And it is done, just a bit of background, it is being done, it is being spearheaded by Jack Schaefer, who also did WandaVision, so she's doing the sequel to it and, you know, sort of carrying on with that story. And it's also the show, it's kind of controversial. Some people are excited because they like Agatha, and there's some people like me who aren't the biggest fans of Agatha and are struggling to find a reason as to why this show would exist besides just being content for content's sake. But into the actual topic of Agatha Coven of Chaos, there is, and I'm pulling up the picture on my computer, a set photo they released of a chair on set, because, you know, everyone has their little film chairs, and on the back it says Agnes of Westview. And this was posted to Instagram by Joe Locke, and it got people wondering if they changed the name again, because the original title for the series was Agatha House of Harkness, and it changed to Agatha Coven of Chaos. So now instead of Agatha How, it's Agatha Cock. So that's cool. And now people are saying, is it Agnes of Westview? No, it's not. So on these, and we've seen set photos of this before on various movies, these chairs don't have the cast member name, it's the character name. So if I had to guess, what we're looking at here is actually Catherine Hahn's chair with her character's name being Agnes of Westview. We're returning to Westview. We're returning to Agnes because Wanda put her in her own little hex bubble at the end. We're not looking at Agatha, we're looking at Agnes of Westview. So I think this is just the name of the character as it's written in the scripts or whatever, or what the official name is, because Agnes doesn't have a last name. I fully believe the show is still Agatha Coven of Chaos, and I could stop recording, open Twitter, and realize, oh, it is called Agnes of Westview, but I don't for a second think that's true. I think this is just Catherine Hahn's on-set chair for her character. But there you guys go. There is all the news I compiled from this week of the MCU. We're going to see what happens next week. I'm going to record one next week, even if there's like one thing, just so I can say I did it, because I'm trying to do it. I want to post these every Friday. If not Friday, it'll be Saturday. And if I don't post over the weekend, it's because I like literally couldn't, or because I was just way too lazy to. But I'm going to try to get in the habit of doing this Friday or Saturday to just end out either the weekday or just the week as a whole. So there you guys go. That's everything I got. What was your favorite thing you saw here? What are you most excited about? And what of this kind of intrigued you the most? Let me know all that down in the comments below. Also leave a like on this video, subscribe, click on the bell icon to receive all notifications from the MCU HQ. That's going to be it. Have a great day, guys.